Ruby Frank might be the worst mom on YouTube.
Hi, I was just wondering if you could do 2 favors.
Well, what are they?
Taking me to the nearest police station.
So what you just saw was a clip of Ruby's son escaping from the house after climbing out of a window, desperately trying to ring the neighbors for some help and call the police. A little backstory in case you don't know who this person is. Ruby Frank was a YouTuber who ran a family channel called 8 Passengers, and she had several million subscribers, and she basically had 6 kids who she essentially just milked all the time in her family vlogs and just used them for content, despite them being very young as well. And essentially these fans started noticing that she would discipline her kids in very extreme ways, right? Like starving her 6-year-old daughter because she didn't want to pack her own lunch to school. She sent her son to a wilderness camp. She took away her son's bed for like 7 months, forced them to do a bunch of physical work in the sun, denied them food and water. She'd also tie up her 12-year-old boy with ropes and like handcuffs. So obviously something very sinister was going on there. And she was basically completely insane. It seems like she thought her kids were satanic or something and she was doing like a good thing. But basically it was her and her family therapist who came up with these series of measures for their kids. And essentially they're just 2 super evil people. So this is the body cam footage of them finally getting caught and basically the arrest footage and how the police sort of uncover what's happening in this house of horrors, so to speak, right? I also got my friend Ben here with me to watch this video, so hopefully you guys enjoy.
The lives of family lifestyle influencers Jody Hildebrandt and Ruby Franke imploded on August 30th, 2023, when one of Ruby's 6 children was discovered weak and hurt. The other 5 had not been accounted for at this time, and law enforcement wasted no time in launching a full investigation. As the police delved into the twisted dynamic that had grown between the 2 women, they never could have anticipated the depths of the depravity the children were subjected to, or the mind-boggling justifications offered by the perpetrators.
Okay, so the other woman, so this is Ruby Frank, the mom, and the other woman is the family therapist or counselor. Basically, Ruby was taking advice from her how to discipline her kids, and she recommended all these like crazy things.
Where do you even find these people? Like, honestly, how do these family channels even become to how big they are, and they just do stuff like this? I don't get it.
Yeah, insane. Everybody has always had that feeling for family channels, like something sinister is going on behind the scenes, and this was like the most insane thing.
I just want my kids back. I want my family back.
Okay, that is the father who is apparently very distraught, and he had no idea of anything going on. That's what he claims. He hasn't been contacted with the kids for like the last year or something. But I don't really buy that story, honestly, personally.
How do you not look at your kids and think, there's something a bit bad going on here? How can you not notice it on the vlogs? Or did people notice it?
Well, I think the timeline's a bit different here. Like, I don't know. We'll have to see there. This is like Ruby's journal. She basically wrote down like everything she was doing to the kids, which is really messed up.
Does that say big day for evil?
Yeah.
However, as soon as he laid eyes on the young boy outside, he immediately knew something was very, very wrong. His Ring camera captured the heartbreaking conversation that ensued.
Yes.
Hi, I was just wondering if you could do 2 favors.
Well, what are they?
Taking me to the nearest police station. Well, actually, just one's fine.
What's going on, son? Have a seat there.
It's personal business.
This was actually the second neighbor the boy had attempted to contact. At the first house, there was no answer.
Okay, so, yeah, basically he escaped out the window, and now he's ringing all the neighbors asking for help, right? And, yeah, the first one rejected him, which is weird. I don't know if they were, like, outside or something like that. But if they were there and they just saw this, like, bruised kid and let them go, that's really messed up, obviously.
Yeah, I feel really bad. Like, this is like, this is bad. Like, it's awful.
Yeah, this is horrible. Yeah, by the way, when the kid asked for 2 favors, right? My theory, okay, basically this mom is like super ultra strict, and essentially she would like punish them for every single little thing. So when the kid asked for 2 favors, he was kind of like, oh wait, no, only 1 favor, because if I ask for 2, I will get punished again. At least that's my theory of what's going on here. Or he's just like super polite, but yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, finally found the good neighbor, luckily.
And forced to move on. The disturbing reason he was seeking help came out when Dan made this emotional call to 911.
I just had a 12-year-old boy show up here at my front door asking for help. Said he had just came from a neighbor's house. He's hungry and he's thirsty.
While Dan was on the phone with the 911, his wife gave the boy, who introduced himself as Russell, snacks to eat while waiting for help to arrive. But shockingly, there was something more appalling about the boy's condition than his extreme malnutrition.
He has duct tape around
And big
his ankle.
injuries. There's sores around him.
Yeah, there's sores around him. I think the good chance he's been...
And he also has
and he has it around his
wrist
ankle.
as well.
And his wrist as well. Okay, this boy has been...
Needs immediate
Jesus Christ.
And yet, the most heartbreaking revelations were yet to come.
Okay, this boy has been... This kid has obviously been... I think he's been detained. He's obviously covered in wounds. He says what's happened to him is his fault.
We need the police here now.
The police and an ambulance were already on the way.
Whereabouts were they living, by the way? Sorry.
I'm not too sure.
Looks like they're in the middle of like nowhere.
Yeah, they really look like an isolated mansion building or something like that.
If I was the neighbor, I'd feel like so bad because you'd almost think like if you're the neighbor, you might have seen something, but I suppose if you're not really thinking of something like that, you're just not gonna see it. It's not until something like this happens, which is obviously like so late down the line.
Yeah, I mean, they were chained in the basement, so I don't know if there were windows there, but
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, this guy literally did a prison like escapee. And by the way, this boy is 12.
Yeah, well, I mean, good on him for actually getting out. Like, that's unbelievable.
During the tense waiting period, Russell revealed that he'd been staying with his mother and her friend, Jody Hildebrandt, since May. Terrifyingly, he added that he wasn't the only child in Jody's house. His two sisters, ages 9 and 14, were still inside. They were about to realize that they'd gotten there in the nick of time. As the police staged in Dan's driveway, a woman drove up in her car and announced that she was searching for a 12-year-old boy. She gave her name as none other than Jody Hildebrandt, the woman Russell said his family had been staying with. Cleverly, the police didn't tell Jody how much they already knew. They just took down her address and said they would come to speak with her shortly. She didn't have to wait long.
Okay, so the kid escapes.
Bring in the SWAT team.
Yeah, dude, the kid escapes, and immediately she's like, "Somebody's escaped my basement. I need to go and hunt them down." That's crazy.
Just got like
Actual
cameras
horror.
everywhere. This is pure lockdown. Like this house doesn't even seem like a house. It just seems like a bunker. It's a prison.
Yeah, it looks like a military prison. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, it's in the middle of like nowhere, so no one's gonna be able to see what's going on. This is absurd.
It really is. Wouldn't mind an accidental shot to the face here.
Police officers, open up! Got me right there.
Nobody's home, apparently.
Open the door!
Yeah,
Busted down, come on.
some like secret bunker down below. All the cameras showing.
By the way, I've never seen a door that big. Holy
I
shit.
was gonna make that comment. Like this door is just so unnecessarily large. It's probably literally so kids can't open it.
Yeah, oh my
That's
god.
that's probably generally why they got it.
Jody? I need you to step out.
I have my attorney.
That's great. Step out of the house.
No, I'm not.
That's
Step out of the house. Step out of the house.
I already have my lawyer on the phone.
Wait a minute, how do you come to my house?
Right there.
Look, they come into my house. Do you have a search warrant?
We'll explain it after this.
You can't just come into my house without a search warrant.
Jody was mistaken about the need for a warrant to enter the home because the police already had probable cause due to a 911 call that the neighbors had placed after Russell showed up at their door. There was a clear emergent need to enter and a warrant wasn't necessary. The police must account for the welfare of the other two children. They certainly had their work cut out for them though, because the house was massive.
Oh, plenty of spots to lock them away. By the way, how does she already have her lawyers on the phone? Like pretending to ignore the knocks, but you have your lawyers on the phone.
It's crazy. Did you hear? Apparently, they've made a law in like, is it California? Is that where all these guys are based? Where basically, if you're a family vlogger, you have to now have like a trust fund for your kids. So now a lot of family vloggers are now moving out of the state, so they don't have to pay their kids. It's such a degenerate sort of like niche to be in most of the time because it's just stuff like this, and people. It's probably stuff even going on now that you don't even know about.
Found one room that appeared to be set up for filming. This, they would learn, was because Jody and Ruby both had a significant
It looks like
online
an
presence.
interrogation
More details
room.
would emerge throughout the investigation, revealing the dark side of these social media influencers.
By the way, I hate how we have the same tag as these freaks. Like, family
What,
vloggers are on another level, okay?
What are you seeing, like influencers?
Yeah, no, just social media influencers.
I wouldn't even call ourselves that because it's just I don't know.
The investigators retrieved the blueprints of the house. This turned out to be a brilliant idea, as the schematics revealed something that might have been overlooked otherwise. Outside, Jody did not appear to be shy about expressing her displeasure at the intrusion.
I have Airbnb guests over there. Probably scared them to death.
Okay.
Are they under the age of 12? Just, oh my lord.
Are they in chains?
There's a little girl.
Just one?
She's right over here.
Okay.
The Airbnb guests were the least of the police's worries right now. Following Jody's instructions, they made their way down the hall to a bathroom with a large closet. What they found inside was devastating.
Hi, I'm a police officer. Are you need here? Hey, you okay?
Oh my god.
Is this just you in here? I'm Sergeant Tobler. What's your name? I just have one. Where's your sister at? Contact one. You okay? Huh? You doing okay?
She's just sitting there?
You don't want to talk to me?
Yeah, she's probably like scared to talk.
That's okay. Can you come with me though? We got Jody out here. You know Jody?
According to the information Jody gave, this was
Damn.
Russell's 9-year-old sister Eve.
We want to be best buddies, but we're getting a little mad here because he won't give me his shoes. That's what I learned how to ride a bike with. No training wheels. Come here, I'll show you.
Despite the officer's gentle approach,
Wait, she sounded so happy in that clip.
Yeah,
and
dude, that's...
bro, Ruby broke her, man. That's so disgusting.
I don't know, just even the voice of what she's talking about there. I mean, kids are generally just so innocent. And
Yeah.
now what you're looking at,
This is like she's just sat alone in this closet and refuses to even speak. She's probably scared of some like punishment that Ruby will give. She probably thinks it's like a test. Like, have you seen that Game of Thrones episode where like that guy leaves the like room and then gets caught again and put in the flipping chains? You know,
dude, that clip that actually hurt my heart. That actually really hurt me. I was
know,
like,
I
is like,
I was about to click off, dude. That was crazy. But this is real life. Oh my lord.
This is real life, yeah. And I know we're just sort of watching it, but that generally like hurt my heart. I was like, damn.
Insane.
hardly giving a sign that she could even hear him.
You take your time, bud. I'm in no hurry. I'm a police officer. Did you know that? I don't mean to hurt you at all. You doing okay? You scared?
Man.
Yeah? You're okay. Do you need help? I'm not gonna hurt you. Promise. See this right here? It's a badge. It tells me I don't hurt
This
people.
officer is great.
I'm just here to make sure you're okay. And I get if you're scared. I would be too. You wanna come with me?
Still, Eve didn't respond. They hatched a new plan to win her over with pizza. While they waited for the food to arrive, the officers kept her
that's
company
nice.
with the utmost patience, refusing to rush her out of the closet until she made the choice to leave.
That's so considerate. That's so nice. They're
I-
basically waiting for her to allow her rather than dragging her out of the room. That's great.
Yeah, I don't even know what you would do in this situation. Like, you almost just want to give her a hug, but you just can't because that will probably just scare her even more.
Yep. This is like, you don't know what trauma she's actually been through, and just a PSA to anyone watching: kids don't act like this. Kids are not supposed to be completely mute to anyone showing up or whatever. This is clearly some damage has happened here, which is, man, this is just sad.
It's okay if I just sit here with you. We don't have to say anything. If you don't want to.
Meanwhile, back with Russell, the EMTs got a close-up look at the duct tape and wounds around his ankles. What they found was almost unspeakably gruesome. But even this was overshadowed by what Russell said next. In between bites of the snacks from the neighbors, he told the police officer documenting his injuries additional details, which made the situation all the more sickening.
You're not in trouble with me, okay? We're just trying to figure out what's going on. Our main focus right now is you, okay? Who put the ropes on you? Supposed to help you what?
The police report revealed the chilling answers that were redacted in the body cam footage. Russell said that Jody and his mother, Ruby Frankie, had restrained him with ropes to help him with what he'd been choosing. How the women had chosen to treat the resulting wounds left EMTs puzzled.
Help him with what he had been choosing?
Yeah, I don't really understand what's kind of going on here.
I think she's gaslighted the kids into thinking this is their fault. Like, even the when the kid showed up at the neighbor's door, he was like, oh no, it's my fault. It's still my fault. Like, basically she's probably given them like some ridiculous choices of like, oh, have a cookie or have this healthy food, and if they chose the cookie, they get like punished or something like that, and it's like, oh, it's your fault because you chose it or something like that. At least that's what I think is happening here.
I honestly cannot get into the mindset of this mom. Like, obviously, we make videos. Imagine making these videos, you edit them, or you probably edit them yourself because you're not going to send this footage out to an editor. And then you sit at YouTube and you upload this video and you're like, yeah, I did a good job, and this is the reality of what's going on. That absolutely just blows my mind.
It's completely insane. Yeah.
The officer who spoke with Russell repeated the distressing details to his supervisor on the phone.
They put cayenne pepper mixed with honey and then covered that with the plastic saran wrap and then the duct tape over the wounds.
Detectives have found evidence of...
What? Wait. Okay. I know, like, certain types of honey has, you know, healing properties or whatever, but cayenne pepper can't be right.
It's like a hot sauce, isn't it? It's like just pepper.
It's pepper. I'm not familiar, but I can't imagine that would help the wounds that much. How about you know, put a bandage or take them to the doctor or like antiseptic or like, bro, I don't know, man.
Do something a trained professional would do, not like some whatever this is.
I mean, they clearly are trained professionals. They got ropes and shit. We're trained in, I don't know what the hell, though. Yeah, dude, something that red cannot be good for a wound. My God. Maybe, was that torture? I don't know. That might have been torture.
Along with more ropes, used bandages, and other wound dressings.
A medical got there. They started cutting the stuff off him. And then you can see, like, the dark around his ankles. You could smell it. When they went to go peel it, they thought it was some of the dressing. It was actually his skin that was peeling.
Obviously, the police wanted to talk to Russell's mother to understand what could possess someone to treat a child in such a manner. As of yet, though, Ruby Frankie, along with Russell's older sister, were still unaccounted for. Jody certainly wasn't sharing where Ruby was, as her behavior became increasingly strange as the house search continued. When this officer seemed unreceptive to her stare, she tried a different target.
Are you waiting for me to say something, or? Okay.
Inside the search...
Wait, what was that?
She's using her psychic powers.
Bro, she was trying the Homelander, like, you know, laser vision.
Yeah, just gonna make the head explode.
That is so stupid.
Went on for more children, especially Julie, the older sister Russell said was at Jody's house. There was no sign of her yet, so the police decided it was time to confront Jody about what they'd found when referencing the blueprints. A safe room in the basement, locked with a vault door.
No way they actually had a basement. That is crazy.
Who built this house? And like, did they build this house? Or was this house already built? Because it sounds like this house and looks like this house was already preemptively built for like some weird reasons.
Yeah, it looks like a... Wait, why? Dude, I've never seen like a vault in any place other than like a bank, bro. Like,
yeah, dude, this is like a cult compound. This is just weird.
Wild guess. The kids are in the basement. I don't know. My God.
Yeah. You have a room downstairs that has a safe wheel on the front. Mm-hmm. How do we get access to that to ensure that there's no one else in this home?
Adam.
They do need to search if there's nobody else, so I think you can give them access to make sure there's nobody in there.
After further...
Wrong answer, lawyer. You're fired.
Yeah,
I don't want to show them the room.
A team returned to the basement to open the safe. Upstairs, additional officers were still trying to gain the trust of the little girl in the bathroom closet.
Found dead skin.
She found dead skin.
Dead skin.
Get out from underneath my bed. Right now.
Sorry, Mom.
I am more upset that you came in my room when you knew you weren't supposed to. You knew that it was a bad idea.
Yeah.
You're still going to have the consequence of not having your nails done for a month.
Mom.
It's a deal. Give me a hug.
Yeah, Mom. And I hope you too to get paid because I want a lot of money.
They likely hope.
She's literally 5. Why are you punishing her? What the hell?
Why can't she go into your bedroom? Like, what are you hiding? Like, why can't they go into a bedroom? It's your house. Did you ever have that at all growing up? Like, you couldn't go into certain parts of your house?
No. And, like, it was completely natural for kids to hide under places, like, especially under the bed. That's, like, a classic hiding spot for, like, any kid. So
that's a top tier spot.
Pizza time. Let's go.
Despite how painfully thin she appeared, Eve didn't go for the food right away.
Oh my God, she's scared. She's scared this is a setup. Like, Ruby, my mom is testing me. If I take the pizza, she's gonna come and beat me or something. Like,
yeah, this is like psychological like warfare here on a child. Like,
insane. Like, the fact that we could even compare this to a Game of Thrones episode is just like, oh my Lord, man. It's okay, man. Yeah.
Eve proceeded to eat the entire pizza and requested 2 more large slices from the lunch that the police had.
Good
As
choice.
Eve ate, the plan was to focus
Yeah.
on opening the safe, but suddenly a new priority emerged. With no warning, Ruby Frankie, Russell and Eve's mother, arrived on scene. After determining that she had no weapons on her, she was taken to a separate area of the house to wait out the search. The police would check in with Ruby once they finished going through the house. The only place left to look was the basement safe room. When they opened the door, though, they were likely crushed. Julie was not inside. At first glance, the room looked to be nothing more than a barren bowl.
Did you notice there was a
reserved for
toilet in that
emergencies.
safe?
Yeah, so I assume it's not money they're hiding in there.
Yeah, there's a toilet in that safe, so you're obviously like hiding in that safe for other
Humans.
reasons. You're hiding people in there, yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
When they started opening drawers, though, they turned up some stomach-churning evidence. Handcuffs, a length of rope, and a carabiner. Based on the condition of Russell and Eve, the police received an official search warrant that enabled them to collect these items, along with many of the electronics, as evidence. But even after being in the house for hours, there was still no sign of Julie or the other Frankie siblings. The only certain thing was what should happen with Jody and Ruby. They were both placed under arrest for aggravated child abuse.
Okay, just place your hand behind your back for me. Perfect.
Finally,
During the arrest
deserved.
process, the officers likely noticed some strange behavior from Ruby. She didn't say a single word, even when put in the back of a police car with Jody. The police had to hope she would be more verbose when the time came to ask her how Russell and Eve had gotten in such miserable conditions.
Okay, go ahead and have a seat. She is definitely not a talker.
Wait, nah, she's probably trying some mind blast shit as well, bro. Like,
Yeah, these people are like out of their mind. They probably think like the silent treatment is like super effective. You're just scaring kids and you just look like an idiot to adults. If someone does the silent treatment too, you're just like, what are you doing?
Yeah, no, that is completely, yeah, I don't know, the other woman was very concerned of incriminating herself, but, like, they've literally found kids with bruises on them, like,
Yeah.
and there's, like, so much evidence from the YouTube videos they uploaded as well, so, I don't know, the lawyer ain't, even the lawyer was like, I'm not sure about
you should probably cooperate with the police. Like, this is like, this is over.
Even the lawyer was, like, questioning his job, he's like, wait, what do you mean you have kids in the basement?
Oh my god.
Yikes.
Even if I ask her a name or just like, then ask them about things, she looks at me and goes,
While Jody was at least responding to direct questions, whether she would respond to the hard ones police had in store was yet to be seen.
I'm a little nervous.
You're not, you know, to be honest with you, if I was sitting over there, I'd be a little nervous too. So don't worry about it. We're just here to talk, to get your side.
So I trust my attorney. He said, don't say anything. And I said, I have nothing to hide. And he's like, I know that, but just let me be there with you when you talk. So you guys seem nice people. I'd like to just tell you, but I don't know who you are. I don't know if you're gonna flip my words. I'm a psychologist. I watch people flip things all the time. So I get it. And I sit on your side. I get it. It looks sad that I don't want to answer anything, but it's not because I'm trying to be difficult.
Even though Jody refused to talk
Dude,
without a
this is like
lawyer
some
trying to
top
get in.
tier like manipulation right now.
It looks bad, but it's not bad, guys. It looks really bad. It looks bad that I have a literal, like, safe basement in my house with a toilet in it.
I like how she said, I'm a little bit nervous right now. It's like, yeah, you probably should be.
They found flipping rope and handcuffs.
Astronomically more difficult.
We're just here to talk to you about kind of a few things involving your kids. So first, do you live down here or do you live up north?
Dude, at the mind blast. What is wrong with her? Oh my god.
Stop saying mind blast.
Bro, all I can think of is like a boys episode. She's just concentrating at their heads. Trying to make them pop.
Do you want to talk to me about where you live or how many kids you have?
She's so creepy.
You don't want to talk to us about anything?
So yeah, this is just your chance to tell us. We're just trying to get your side of the story. So it's your chance to do that. But it's up to you.
I'll wait till I have a lawyer.
Okay. So
she can talk.
There was hardly any doubt that the two women had done horrible things to Ruby's children, but with both women unwilling to talk, the police still had no idea why. Answers, though, were closer than anyone thought. When the detectives first got to the police station, they found a surprise visitor waiting. Ruby's husband, Kevin Frankie, was there, and he wanted to pick up his kids. With so many burning questions pertaining to the Frankie family, Kevin was detained and taken to a third interrogation room where he was read his rights.
How did you find out that you needed to come here to the street?
I received a message that I needed to come pick up my kids from the police department in Highlands.
And who was that message from?
Well, I prefer not to say right now.
Does it make sense that that would happen? I'm just not aware of any.
I'd prefer not to say right now. I guess Ruby messaged him, no?
Yeah, dude, if I was ever in like the police situation, I generally hadn't done anything wrong, I'd be like, I will tell you anything. Like, just go for it. Like, why are people so difficult? If you have nothing to hide, just tell the truth.
He clearly has something to hide if he's the husband of this freak, so I imagine he's not entirely innocent here, but we'll see.
Anyone who did that from our department.
Right. And I'm not comfortable saying right now who reached out to me.
Was that Jody?
I'm not going to answer that question.
Kevin was keeping quite close-lipped.
This guy's
However,
straight
it
on
wasn't all bad news. Back at Jody's house, Eve finally seemed to be warming up to law enforcement.
You don't want to talk? Okay. There's nothing at all you want to talk about at all? It's okay to talk to me. Are you scared? We helped your brother. And we got him some help too. And that's what we want to do for you. If you want to get you some
I can't
help,
imagine the level she was traumatized to
We are
not
safe.
speak for hours.
We will not
Yeah,
hurt
dude,
you.
shout out
We
to
won't
these
do
police
anything
officers
to
for
hurt
actually
you.
being
It
good
took
at their
a total of
job.
4 hours
Like
before
doing
he
like
was
a
willing
good
to leave the
job.
closet with medical personnel.
4 hours. Wow. They did such a good job. Brought her pizza, were like really kind with her.
Examining her in the ambulance, EMTs
Stop
discovered that
saying
she had
police.
wounds on her feet and decided that she and Russell both needed to go to the hospital. Thankfully, as Kevin's conversation with police continued, he was willing to provide some crucial context.
And how many kids do you have, Kevin?
I have 6 kids.
So are they all living with you, or
No, I haven't seen them for over a year.
any of them?
No, none of them.
For a year?
Over a year.
Okay.
I've been in a separation.
From who?
From my wife and family. Ruby invited me to leave the home while I thought about the choices that I've made in my life and the way that I've treated her.
And did you ever try to reach out to the kids, drop by the home, or was
I
there?
honored the no separation boundary that we agreed.
I honored the Honestly, I feel like this dude is literally just saying whatever he can to make himself seem innocent. Like, there's no way the dad had no idea. Like, he didn't check up on his kids once in an entire year.
For a
Are you
whole
kidding me?
year. Yeah, this guy
Like-
sucks.
Yeah, like a photo, or like either he completely neglected them, which sucks anyways, or he knew what was happening.
The last time I saw her
Yeah.
was the 18th
Of
this month. We met she requested me to sign over vehicles, or the titles to the vehicles, the vehicle that she drives, that were all in my name.
when's the last time you physically saw Russell or Eve?
The day that I moved out, July 24th, 2022. So my job is to financially provide for
I was
them.
trying to figure out like how much of a role do you play in the caretaking of specifically of those 2 kids?
I paid the bills.
Okay.
With my job,
Are you buying this with this guy saying?
Dude, this guy sucks. Like, this guy is not a father figure. He's not even a man. Like, how can you let this happen?
He's a robot. Like, literally, what are these answers? Like, he's being so calculated. Like, there's no way he didn't know what's going on. There's like, I'm not buying this bullshit. And yeah, what a shit father. Like, absolute piece of
provide
shit.
the money goes into a shared bank account, and that's my only.
You have 6 kids.
As the
You don't care
conversation
about
went
any of
on,
them?
Kevin seemed to be
Yeah,
just
what's
as
his
in the
job
dark
to
as
be
the
able to fund
investigators.
this?
Who lives in that home with your, is it ex-wife? Is it currently a separated wife? Like, who lives in that home with your children?
To be honest, I don't know. I know that she's there with 4 of the children, and our 2 older children have moved out.
This likely came as a shock to investigators. If there were 4 Frankie children still living at home, that meant they weren't just missing Julie, but another one of Russell's teenage sisters, Abby.
Oh my God.
Before launching into a frantic search, the detectives decided to finish talking to Kevin, hoping he could give them an idea of where to look for the girls. As the conversation went on, though, Kevin's story only got stranger.
Who's this female Jody that your wife lives with? Do you know a female named Jody?
She is a therapist and a life coach, I know, and she's.
Do you respect her?
Do I respect her? Yeah, I think she is a very honest, truthful person. Yes.
Okay. Is your wife a partner of hers? Is your wife a roommate with her? Your kids are living in her house, is what I'm trying to say.
I'm not aware of that, but I know that they've been in business.
He's not even aware of where his kids are living.
Yeah, dude, some stranger is in a house with your kids and you don't know if they live there or not. What?
And you met Ruby last month, by the way. So, you met Ruby, but not any of the kids. Didn't ask how they were doing. What a shit father. This guy wins worst father of the year. Or
What
whatever,
a sorry
century.
excuse of a man.
Yeah.
What a
For
turd.
the last year filming, so every week a podcast goes up and I listen to it.
What's the name of it?
Connections with an X.
This would explain the film set discovered in Jody's house. As it turned out, Jody and Ruby both had a significant following on Instagram and YouTube. Jody was a therapist, and her accounts focused on counseling and family dynamics in alignment with the Church of Latter-day Saints.
Dude, that looks like the most unsettling, podcast room.
Yeah. Also, this guy watches the podcast as well, so I don't know what to make of this, bro.
And had written several books sharing her methods, and even taught online Zoom classes on the topics of family health and harmony. Ruby, meanwhile, created more slice-of-life content, cataloging daily life with her family as members of the Mormon faith. Her main platform was a YouTube account titled 8 Passengers, supplemented with an Instagram under the same name. In due time, the police would learn that the content made by Ruby and Jody had become unimaginably twisted behind the scenes.
Are you involved with their business efforts, or
No.
And were you involved in the 8 Passengers account with your family?
Yes, I was in the videos. And
Recently, Ruby's online presence had undergone a shift.
There is no, soul behind those eyes. Oh my god. That is so freaky.
She rebranded to Truth Mom, but began focusing less on her own channel in favor of working with Jody on connections.
You guys got a lot of heat for neglect and child abuse. A lot of people commented those things on there. Why were they commenting those things?
that's a good question. We had a son who was acting out in very selfish behavior.
Just Chad, or
yes, this was Chad, and none of this is strange or odd. You can get on YouTube and find out all sorts of stuff on this.
Eventually, Ruby stopped posting on her private YouTube account altogether, which Kevin said eliminated 90% of the family's income. Her last video on Jody's channel, though, had come out just 2 days ago. In the interrogation room, Kevin shared more about
How
the
many
situation
subscribers
which led
did she
to
have, by the way?
She had over 2 million. I'm not sure what was her peak, but I know it's over 2 million. I actually made a video on her 4 years ago. Yeah, so this was an ongoing story, and back then she was still uploading videos. Now her channel is taken down. But yeah, it was crazy how the stories evolved.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I do vaguely remember this. As soon as you mentioned the bed, taking away the bed from the kids, I was like, I remember this. But this is like such insane stuff that this is on YouTube. You'd have no idea this was going on. But then again, he was saying people were commenting stuff about it.
Yeah, no, because you saw the clip we just watched of her under the bed, and then she was like, I'm taking away your nail polish. Stuff like that was sprinkled all throughout the videos. And yeah, so that's what people were commenting based on, and clearly they were right.
Yeah, dude, it's evident.
He was being very cruel and mean to his siblings that he shared a room with. And so we removed him from the room. And we said, you can sleep anywhere you want. Sleep on the couch, sleep on the pull-out bed, sleep on the floor for all we care, but you're not sleeping in that room with your brother. He chose to sleep on a beanbag. So 9 months later, he had made a lot of changes in his life. And he was ready to, and we had moved by that time. And so we had a new house, and he was ready to move into his own bedroom, made a video about it. And in the video, he mentioned something of the effect of, I've been sleeping for 9 months on a beanbag. And that is what all the uproar was about.
This wasn't Ruby's only run-in with the law.
I like how they're telling the story like it was just the most innocent thing ever. Like, I imagine it's another one of the 500 punishments these kids get. And if they're punishing like the 5-year-old so severely, or whatever age that the girl was, like, I imagine the older people are getting punished even more.
Well, yeah, actually, that's true. They wouldn't have left home. They wouldn't have been able to escape, surely.
Days before her arrest, she'd been pulled over while driving, with her kids in the car.
Hello. You know how fast you're going right there? No. Okay. Got you going 57 and a 35.
Ruby was sent on her way with only a speeding ticket. Back with Kevin, he explained that the situation with his oldest son, Chad, was the catalyst for Jody getting involved with the family. She was hired as Chad's therapist and had the boy personally paying her $900 a month. From there, her involvement with the family only grew. How this could have led to the breakup of the family and the near starvation of 2 of the children was yet to be explored.
During your marriage, how was disciplining your kids? How would you discipline your kids?
Yeah, I'm not going to answer that question.
Are you aware of the physical
Of
condition
course
of
you
your
are.
children?
No. No, I've
Scumbag.
chosen to trust my wife with the children. That was part of the agreement of our separation.
Kevin was about to learn the harrowing consequences this decision has caused.
We received a phone call from 911 on our dispatch that a 12 to 13-year-old boy was knocking on doors in a neighborhood asking for food and water. So he had,
I'm sorry, what?
He had duct tape on his extremities, on his hands, on his ankles, and those were covering rope burns that were used to tie him down. Take a second and think about what I just said. That's the condition of your son. Given that information, your son was taken to the hospital. A warrant has been applied and granted by the Department of Child and Family Services.
For some reason, I just can't buy this guy's emotions, bro.
Yeah,
it's just so unnatural.
I can imagine, obviously, even if you were in shock, you'd be a bit more kind of like...
You'd be angry. You'd be screaming. Like,
yeah. Dude, I'd be raging. I don't think... I'd be so angry. Oh my god.
Bro's literally meditating and doing like a Sims pose, bro.
To remove both Russell and Eve from your wife's care. Do you understand that?
I understand.
Would you condone that behavior?
Would I condone that behavior?
That's my job. My job is to find out your
It's a
knowledge
simple
of
question,
treatment
man.
of these.
Yeah, it's a simple
precious
no, you wouldn't
children.
condone it.
No. Again, I don't know the details or I don't know what's going on, but as you described that sounds
Horrible. Disgusting. No human being should be treated like that.
The investigators stepped out to give Kevin a few private moments.
Dude, it's like he had to be told that you don't do this. He's like, yeah, you know what, you're right.
Yeah,
This
you know
guy
what?
doesn't...
I think
you know what?
that's the human response.
Yeah, dude, you'd be crying if you found out this had been happening to your kid. Yet this guy is just almost like, it's almost like he's been sent to like the principal in school and you're just like, yeah, don't do this. You're like, yeah, I won't do this. This is crazy.
Yeah, he's got a lawyer earpiece in or some shit, bro.
When the investigative team returned 10 minutes later, Kevin took the opportunity to ask a burning question.
what's going to happen? It's my wife. I love my wife.
What's going to happen to your kids, dude? Your wife's going to jail.
That is insane. He asked about the wife and not the kids.
What's going to happen to my wife? Forget about the kids. Like, no, dude, your wife's done. It's over. Like, your wife is going to prison for a long time, if not ever. You're there, like, not even considering what's happening to the kids.
Also, how did he not piece together that the person who put the rope on the flipping kids was likely the mom and the freak therapist or whatever?
Well, he might think it's just the therapist and the mom has no idea, but...
I don't know.
Had anything to do with
I don't press charges against my wife.
Possibly. I think given the circumstances, that's highly appropriate.
Omega Sim.
That night, the police decided that Ruby would be booked into jail to await her attorney. Even this, though, failed to get a reaction from her.
Makes you want to let you know what criminal charges for, so you're under arrest. It's going to be 2 counts, second-degree felony of child abuse or neglect, okay? You understand that or no? Are you?
I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it. Mind blown.
Dude, this police officer is literally about to smile, being like, "Are you okay?"
I'm wondering if there's like a medical clearance that needs to, like, do you need medical attention before you go to the jail? Okay. Have you ever been arrested before? I'm just concerned about you.
Don't worry, there's nothing
I know
in
you
there.
don't believe that. I've had an
Soul
opportunity
left
to
her
talk
body
to your husband
20 years ago.
Kind of worried about your circumstances and obviously your children as well.
Bro,
Make sure you don't need medical attention or anything like that.
It's the mind blast you got.
No,
Jody, too, was
bro.
escorted to a police car to be transported to jail facing the same charges. Still inside the police station, Kevin learns more from the investigators about the children.
And so, I mean, this feels like getting run over by a steam truck while you're sharing with me today.
Yeah, I can tell you're caught off guard.
I thought I was just
That's gotta be sarcastic. That's gotta be
Yeah.
sarcastic.
Dude,
this guy looks
like-
like he got sent to the Shadow Realm, bro.
Dude, I just don't understand how the people who do this type of... How do you honestly think you're going to get out of it? Unless you're, like, thousands of miles away. Is this guy just, like, in the state? and he's just not seen his kids for a year. He just pays the bills and then just doesn't see them.
I have no idea. This is either he's the most obedient mother flipper on the planet or something, and he's just like, I mean, he's clearly an omega simp for his wife or something, because even after the kids are found like tortured, he's like, oh, I love my wife. Like,
yeah, dude, this guy sucks. This guy sucks.
Oh my god.
Pick up my kids, and for what, I don't know what or why, but I was planning on taking them back with me. Everything you're sharing to me just sounds like a made-up story. Like
dude, we are the police.
Like,
you're in interrogation right now.
It's just it sounds like a horror movie.
You sound like you're pretending to be shocked, bro.
Yeah.
And what you're sharing with me just feels like a sucker punch.
Yeah, you made it clear with the steam truck thing, buddy. Like, man.
It almost looks like he's smirking as well, then, when he says sucker punch. Like, how can anyone believe that this is, like, a prank? It's like you are in a police station with some very serious-looking people with some very extreme, like, accusations being against you right now.
Yeah,
what an
they
epic
should just
prank.
show him a picture of the kids as well. Like,
oh, dude.
It hurts. I know you're all doing your jobs. And I know you all have the best interests of my kids in mind. I appreciate them.
Thank you. Thanks. That means a lot.
I just want my kids back. I want my family back. I want my wife back.
It was doubtful either Ruby or Jody would be getting out of jail anytime soon. Jody grappled with this through the lens of religion while speaking with a friend she called from the county jail.
And I don't know if I'm going to be like some kind of example, but when I get out of here, I have a story to tell, and I'm going to try to do everything I can to protect the children, because that's what's happening. Is that kids are being just horribly abused. Well, I have just been begging him, like, you've got to explain this to me. Like, I cannot logically figure out what's going on here. I mean, I should be here. I haven't done anything wrong.
Ruby, too, made some equally baffling claims.
So they're blaming each other, or what's happening here?
Yeah, there's going to be a free-for-all now.
During her jailhouse phone calls.
But the most upsetting thing is that I am completely misunderstood. That is the most horrible feeling. Like, my own family misunderstands me. They misinterpret me. And poor Jody, they misinterpret her. They misunderstand her. She puts her neck out on the line for people, and then they get mad at her. I mean, it is just horrendous. It's horrendous. And you know what? Every Joseph Smith, every wonderful man of God has had to be misunderstood. And I'm a good woman. I don't do naughty things.
I don't do naughty things. I just tie up my children. And
they haven't even mentioned any mention of their kids in the call. None of them being like, I just want to make sure my kids are okay. Like, they're just talking about themselves. They just want to make sure they themselves are okay. It's like, your kids are probably in like some sort of hospital ward right now, and you're just caring about yourself.
Yeah, they're clearly like been possessed or brainwashed or something. They have some religious thing taken over their head. They think they're doing the right thing. That's why they're saying, oh, I'm being misinterpreted. I'm only doing it for their own good. But yeah, like, I don't see how wounding your kids is their own good, man.
Evil.
It wasn't all dark and twisted news, though. In a stroke of luck, the police located Julie and Abby. Shockingly, they were nowhere near the family home in Springville. Rather, they were located more than 20 miles away at a house belonging to Ruby's friend and fellow Connections member, Pam. How she'd gotten there, though, remained in question. Pam was handcuffed when the police arrived and agreed to answer some questions while waiting for additional investigators to arrive. While one officer sat with her, the other took the opportunity to check in with Julie.
Do you need medical attention at all? Okay. Is there a reason you're so scared right now? It's us? Okay. Well, I'm sorry if you've had a negative interaction with law enforcement in the past, okay? My intention is not to scare you. Do you go to school?
Man, all of these kids have been traumatized.
Down the driveway, Pam was unhandcuffed when investigators arrived from Springville. She told them that she'd received a call from Ruby asking her to pick up two of her daughters while she dealt with a family emergency. Up until this point, the officers were under the impression that it was only Julie at the house, but Pam clarified that her older sister, Abby, was also there. Thankfully, neither she nor Julie appeared to be in physical distress like Russell or Eve. Julie and Abby appeared hesitant to go with DCFS representatives when they arrived, but were safely taken into custody to await the outcome of the investigation. The uncertainty over Abby and Julie's whereabouts had been answered, but so many questions remained. First and foremost, the quandary of what could have happened to leave Russell and Eve so frail and traumatized. Kevin returned to the police station with his lawyer for a second interview. The additional details he was about to share were nothing short of astonishing.
Have you found the pen papers?
The pen papers.
So it described all of the visions and trances and everything that Jody and Ruby went into.
How thick would you say it was?
It was like 3 inches thick or so.
What are they talking?
And there were hundreds of
trances?
pages of written documents. It's something Jody would not want found.
Yeah.
But she wouldn't want to destroy it.
Because we do have Ruby's journal, which is from those dates that you mentioned.
These things are going to be so... The stuff she wrote in the pen paper, she would not write in her journal. The stuff she wrote in the pen papers was not intended to be read by anybody until God would decree them to be written as scripture for the whole world.
Okay, so as I thought, this guy has a complete idea of what's going on.
Yeah.
He's read the journals. So this guy's just been playing dumb this entire time, I guess.
Yeah, this guy, like I've said, he sucks.
Yeah.
It wasn't certain whether the documents found by the police were actually Ruby's pen papers or just a journal. Regardless of what they were called, the contents revealed a wealth of heinous secrets. On July 10th, 2022, Ruby wrote, "Eve and Russell have been in so much deviant behavior they won't control their bodily functions. I never would have suspected the cold, dead heart Russell has." Ruby echoed these sentiments in one of the phone calls she made from jail.
I don't have a really hard time understanding that children can be full of evil and what that takes to fight it.
According to the journal, Russell and Eve were locked in closets, made to do physical labor, wall sits, jump on a trampoline, stand out in the rain, and carry heavy boxes up and down the stairs for hours on end. When Eve slipped and fell while carrying the boxes, Ruby accused her of doing so on purpose, and then shaved her head as punishment.
Oh my... What? Holy mother of God, that was a lot to take in. Okay, so there's essentially this torture going on in the name of discipline and punishment. It's like they're getting the David Goggins Omega treatment when they're 5 years old.
Why would you shaving a kid's head? Why?
Because she slipped, by the way.
Yeah, I know that, but I mean, why would you think that's like a suitable punishment? That's not
Yeah.
a punishment, that's just cruel.
Wait, if she is going to act sick, she can look sick. She agreed with a smile. What the hell? I told her because I didn't listen the night before. She would do 2 sets of boxes stairs with a 5-minute break. She did the first set easy. After a 5-minute rest, she began whimpering. Holy shit, she wrote all of this down? What a psychopath.
Oh.
What?
I've never had a kid quite like Eve, but she does not like to sit and listen. I don't know if that's just her personality and she just needs me to be more strict with her than what was required with some of the other kids, or if she is displaying hyperactivity tendencies. So I'm going to try to figure that out today. I honestly don't know which way it's going to go. She knows that I mean it, and I'm going to carry through with it. If she absolutely is not capable, then I'm going to maybe take further measures to figure out if there's hyperactivity tendencies going on, or if she stays and she's really good and she listens, then it probably just means she needs a little bit more of a strict routine with her.
Yeah, let me shave her flipping head. Like,
Yeah.
so she posted this type of stuff on the channel, and it's all vague. It's like, oh, I'm going to discipline her. I'm going to reward her if she does good things. And then in the journal, she's writing this psychotic shit, dude.
Yeah, so is it basically like she thinks the kid might have like, what, ADHD? So instead of taking them to like a specialist to figure out if she does, she's just going to monitor her, and then like if she doesn't do what she wants, she's just going to just punish her and be stricter. Is that what I'm getting here?
Yeah, she's beating the Satan out of her or whatever the hell. I have no idea. Yeah, just the worst strategy, essentially.
According to Kevin, the fight against so-called evil had not originated with the children. In fact, the downward spiral had begun more than a year prior under some very strange circumstances.
We went out to like a dinner afterwards, and that's where Jody really opened up to the women in a private conversation that she believed she was being tormented and haunted by shadow figures every night, and that was spooky.
Ruby also revealed that Russell and Eve still sometimes failed to control their bodily functions. She presented this as a method by which they defied her.
You mean normal kid things?
What? Yeah, so going to the toilet and still going to the toilet. Basically, she saw that as like defying her.
That is completely insane. By the way, this guy knew. So suddenly he brings up the journal and he's like, oh, he knew all this shit. And he still left the kids with these 2 psychos. Horrible, horrible father.
The thing is, hang on, I think we're getting it wrong there about the kids' bodily functions. I think it's because, isn't it when like someone like when you're so malnourished and weak that you can't actually control like when you go to the toilet? I think that's what it is. I don't think it's when you just go. And that's why they're wearing diapers. Oh my God.
Man. That could be it too, yeah. Or they're just really young or whatever, but whatever reason it is, it's like they're like it's not something they control. They're not doing it to spite you. Like, you're an adult.
She was walking along the beach with Jesus.
Okay, man.
Jesus challenged her to go walk on the water, and it was a whole lesson on walking on the water.
And that was still just the tip of the iceberg. The more investigators read of Ruby's journal, the more depraved the story became. Tuesday, big day for evil, she wrote on July 11th. All night, Eve screamed and cried and hit her head on the tile floor. Today, Jody confronted her. Eve admits to putting on a show for her mother. Eve said she wants to be pitiful. When the investigators read on and learned what torment Eve had endured to reach this level of desperation, they likely didn't know whether to be enraged or heartbroken. Jody mentioned her experiences with what she called the spirit in one of her jail phone calls.
When I feel the spirit, I have two physiological reactions. I get really like shaky, like I'm shivering, like I'm cold, or I feel heat, like I have a fever run through me. It felt like I was burning up, and I was just shaking with gratitude. Like, here's your answer. Here's what this is.
Back with Kevin, he revealed that while Jody's alleged visions had initially seemed positive, things quickly took a much darker turn, and things changed inside the house.
There was a lot of satanic ones. When she would go into possession mode, she would talk in like different voices. It was really creepy. But the voices would say, "She's ours. We're not letting go."
Yeah, that's a good person to leave your kids with. That sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, dude, like, where did you find this therapist? Like, were they just like rummaging through a bin outside, and you're like, you'll do? Like, where did you find this person?
My God, it literally just like went to like a nuclear power plant, dig up the soil, found her in the remains. Like, oh, this'll do. Some fucking radioactive creature here.
Someone just going like around your kids, yeah, she's ours. You'd be like,
man, I gotta tell my mom I love her, bro. After this shit, man, we're so lucky to not have crazy parents.
She is Satan's bride. She's mine. I'm going to marry her. If she was faking it, she believed that Satan wanted her as her bride.
The journal revealed that Eve experienced horrific punishments. This is the day Eve anticipates breaking her 2-day fast, Ruby wrote. I let Russell know she has hardened her heart and will do one more day of fasting to invite her to humble. Eve flips out and begins ranting. All day, Eve makes rhymes about "my mom starves me" and calls it fasting.
That's oh my God. Starving a 9-year-old.
Is this like, I don't know if it's the wrong thing to say, is this like a religious thing? Like she's just like super strict on religion, or is she just an idiot?
She is most likely an idiot, yeah. I don't know where in the religion it says to do this shit. I don't know. She's having some episodes. I mean, if she's talking in different voices and like, I don't know how to make sense of any of this, honestly.
Interview, Kevin continued his description of what it was like to live with Jody.
I can't explain some of the stuff that happened while we were there. Like crashes in the basement while we were talking upstairs. And plates like in the kitchen just flying off by themselves, like full speed smashing on the wall and falling to the floor. And I don't have any way to explain it other than there's some crazy going on.
Wait. So does he also believe they're completely crazy, or is he just stupid and doesn't realize somebody's flipping throwing the dishes?
It's a spooky ghost, dude. These guys are like absolute morons. Like, what?
Oh
my
man,
God.
I hate every person. I hate every single one of these. Kevin, this dog shit mom, dog shit therapist. I'm so sad for the kids. The kids who escaped, by the way, good on them. Like getting away from this dog family.
Eve was doused with water in the dog wash and made to sleep on the basement floor, and it only got worse going forward. Kevin, too, said that back in 2021, the situation with Jody took a similar downward trajectory as she became increasingly entwined with his family.
But it reached the point where in August, her bishop at the time, he's not our bishop anymore, but I mean, he was going over there every night. And he'd be there for like 4 hours. And he'd be like, I'm fighting evil spirits. I'm casting demons out.
Yeah, bro.
Dude, this sounds like a movie. Like, this sounds like
really
one of these like horror movies.
Yeah.
There needs to be some sort of resolution.
After the bishop left, the first attempted fix was for Jody to move in with another family involved with connections. The opinions Kevin shared about what happened with that family reflect only his beliefs, and we have not been able to verify them.
According to them, after 6 weeks and trying to seduce the husband of the family, they kicked her out.
While there was no way to prove that Jody had been held against her will, the police knew for a fact that Russell and Eve had been. Ruby documented one particularly horrific confrontation between Russell and Jody, whom she refers to frequently as G-Joe. G-Joe takes Russell on a little walk to the pool, Ruby wrote. She talks on how Russell has love twisted. G-Joe then pushed Russell into the pool. Meanwhile, Kevin recounted the events after Jody either escaped or was kicked out of the other family's home.
It was at that point that they said, "Why don't you take her up to your house?" And I was like, "Oh, hell no. I don't want this in my house." But I was beaten over the head with it. Like, that's really insensitive. You know, she's done so much to help our family, and you're being selfish, and she has needs, and come on, like, it won't be for long. And so I relented, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, this guy's such a flippin' pussy, absolute coward, loser. Like, it seems like the two people he was in contact with are completely crazy, right? But I don't know if he's also crazy or he's just letting the crazy things happen. Like, there's that saying, right?
He's enabling it, isn't he? He's enabling this to happen. So you're just as bad. Like, you know what's going on, but you're not doing anything about it, and you're just sort of plain ignorant. You're basically just as involved as the mom and the creepy therapist.
Yeah, he's the dad. Like, it's his job to protect the kids. Like,
dude, if I found out this was going on with my kids, like, honestly,
somebody's getting shot, bro.
You'd have to restrain me, and even then, I'd still be coming for you. There is no way that I would allow this to happen. This guy's just like,
oh yeah, they were just possessed by some spirits. I thought it'd be okay to let them be with them for like years and shit. I feel like he knew more than he's letting on as well.
Oh,
like, he had
knows.
access to these journals. Yeah.
He knows, he knows what's going on. Even if I had a partner and they were talking about they're hearing voices and spooky ghosts, I'd be like, like, you know.
You're not getting the kids, bro.
Yeah, I'm not leaving the kids alone with you.
Later in his second interview, Kevin told the police about the drastic changes that took place in the Frankie house after Jody moved in.
The moment she showed up at my house, just the weirdest crap started happening. Lights turning on and off, sounds of people walking in walls, and like sounds like footprints going up walls and across the ceiling, stuff floating around, and I became the resident exorcist.
What?
Dude, is this like a Resident Evil cutscene or something? Like,
no,
what is
actually, this might actually be Resident Evil. This is completely insane.
This is just like a cutscene. Like, what is this guy talking about? Has he ever been in a house before? It's like there's wind outside. Oh my god.
Bro is just getting pranked by Jody. She's like literally just like pulling some, like, putting a fan, like tapping the walls a little bit, and this guy's going insane, like, oh, I'm getting possessed, like, and then runs away.
Stuff floating around.
And Ruby would go up and check on her. It started like every 4 hours at night, and then it moved every 2 hours at night, then it moved every hour at night, and then at some point Ruby said, you know what, I'm just going to start sleeping in there, and if I need you, I'll come down and get you.
Kevin said that Ruby and Jody began sleeping in the same bed.
Okay.
Dude, is this like some weird relationship going on?
I don't know. Maybe they get off on hurting kids. That seems like the relationship. I don't know. And this guy's just the iDubbbz in the corner. Or
I could leave when I wanted, but I couldn't come back until Ruby gave me permission. I couldn't come into the kitchen to eat until Ruby gave me permission. And the upstairs where Jody roamed was completely off limits. Ruby would dictate all of the terms of how our interactions would be.
Yeah, that's completely normal.
No matter what I did, no matter how much I tried to track better, be, truthful and not be selfish. Every week it was like, you're being manipulative, you're being selfish, you're lying, you're hiding something, you're still hiding stuff. And I really started to question my sanity, honestly.
Yeah, I would too if I'm seeing flipping like ghosts and shit.
Dude,
and like people walking in walls.
This guy is like so smart with his answers though. Like he's literally, because obviously he wasn't present in the house, he's like just turning everything into, oh yeah, they even controlled me. Like I had no idea what was going on. But then he knew all this information, like the book and just other weird stuff. It's like, you know what was going on.
Yeah, and like, bro, he didn't ask one question about the kids in his entire interview or anything. Like, he's just talking about himself and how to save his own ass.
How he feels. It's like,
More and more isolated. Jody had an approved list of men that I can make phone calls to.
This appeared to be a method Ruby repeated with Russell at Jody's house. Ruby recounted in the journal how she woke one night to find Russell missing, and a note written in pebbles on the balcony which read, "Jail. I will call when I get there." Panicked, Ruby said she and Jody searched the house, then got in their cars and began driving around looking for Russell, which Ruby described as racing the devil. They brought him home. Disturbingly, she went on to describe the concession of letting Russell sleep in a bed and feeding him a full meal the next day as like stitching up a patient knowing you didn't get all the cancer out.
Oh my god.
Dude, these
that
people,
is freaky, dude.
This is evil. Like, you're literally, like, hunting your kids down who have escaped. Like, honestly, how did the neighbors not notice any of this, though? I know I said it earlier, like, you wouldn't notice and you'd feel bad, but, like, how would you not notice this?
Well, it doesn't seem like a community place. Like, it's like a massive house and a basement.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it seems pretty isolating, actually. Take that back.
Yeah, but also when they escaped, apparently some of them weren't even answering the doors, so screw them anyways. Yeah, this is insane. Like, giving them a meal is considered a concession and not getting, like, the cancer out of them. What a insane thing to say.
Okay, look at me. Don't say help anymore.
You done said it.
Yeah, so I'm very clear what I'm talking about. Don't say that again. Do you understand? Because next time you won't be smiling on your face.
Kevin explained that the situation never improved as everyone tried to appease Jody and Ruby.
So I was completely cut off. You know, if I went to my church leaders, I was seeking enablement. If I went to my family, I was seeking enablement.
This guy has no balls, bro.
Like, does she stand on business and save your kids?
I know. When Jody called me one day out of the blue and just said, I don't understand why you're not getting it.
While everything the police had learned so far was certainly horrific, they would soon realize that it almost got unimaginably worse for the children. Based on the journal entries, the authors believed that the children's bodies needed to be engaged in painful good work as punishment. Just as Ruby and Jody set out to look for rural land in Arizona for the Frankie children to work, Ruby got a text. I found the land. As the move to Arizona loomed dangerously closer, it became obvious that the women wanted the pair to choose punishment over respite. In an emotional phone call made from her jail cell, Jody had this to say on the topic.
Nobody wants the truth. Nobody wants the truth. Nobody wants the truth because these kids, you know, I told Doug, I woke up, the spirit told me, it's all the devil. I mean, you've seen him, and he uses these kids, and he uses all of us as the adults, the parents that don't hold the kids accountable. So now it's abusive to make a kid sleep on the floor. It's abusive, or it's abusive to, you know, that's ridiculous. You can't even raise your kids anymore.
Can't even raise your kids. You just need to tie them up and bruise them and starve them. Nice.
Can't even make kids sleep on the floor anymore. Do you know how hard that is? Like, what are they talking about?
Yeah, I just gotta make the 9-year-old fast for 2 days again. What the hell?
It's the sort of stance Jody put forth through her program, Connections. At its peak, her Instagram had over 10,000 followers, leaving the police to wonder just how many other children might have suffered the ramifications of her influence. Later, in the midst of the investigation, Kevin continued his story of his family's breakdown.
So that separation continued all the way up until the holidays, maybe. And then Ruby ended that separation. Jody went home the second week of January. But by that time, like, Ruby, Pam, and Jody were completely determined to do this work that they felt God had for them. I thought it was crazy. Like, I thought it was just that crazy.
Oh, yeah. You thought it was crazy. So what did you do about it, you piece of shit? Literally did nothing.
Quick question, how much money were these family channels making? Because this house is like, this isn't just like a big house. This is like,
this is millions.
This is ridiculously big. Like,
no,
this is
like
crazy.
20 mil, bro, at least. Like, I don't know what area they're in, but yeah, this is fucking insane. They were printing money with this shit and couldn't even buy food for the kids, bro. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. I think they always justify it using some ridiculous thing like God told me to. Like, no, you're just evil and you're using God as an excuse, you know?
This is what I mean. Like, this house is a compound. This isn't a home. This is like, I don't even know how you describe this. It's ridiculously big. There's nothing outside for the kids to do. Like, they're in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, literally isolated and cut off. That's why they were like so scared as well.
She wanted to legally, like, work with Jody's attorney to give Jody 8 passengers and become an employee of Connections. Basically, the contract was Ruby gives Jody everything and Ruby gets nothing in return. Our YouTube manager at the time was like, red flags. Like, I don't know how to tell you she is scamming you. Ruby fired him.
Regarding this issue of Ruby and Jody's business entanglement, Ruby made some interesting claims in one of her calls from jail. In fact, she seemed to be changing her attitude towards Jody entirely.
Jody Hildebrandt never was my business partner, nor was I ever her employee. I never received wages from Connections or Jody. In 2019, I hired her as a counselor for my son, and then in 2020, I paid her to be my mentor. She's a whirlpool. She just pulls you.
Regardless of any legal business arrangements, finances became an increasingly central
I mean, I think, like, now she's just trying to save her own skin, you know? She's
yeah,
just trying
dude, everyone's been caught out. It's just throwing everyone under the bus now.
Component of the travesty that befell the Frankie children.
Freaky room, by the way.
This became clear when police continued reading Ruby's journal and gained further insight into the disturbing reasons she and Jody were looking into moving to Arizona. Jody and I took Eve out into the desert, Ruby wrote. She went out into the heat, barefoot. Eve still tried to run. She screamed for another family, water, food, care, love. Oh, Eve, a manipulative ploy.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's not a sign of anything wrong. Your kids are screaming and running away. By the way, you were completely right. This is why they choose this location.
Yeah, dude, it's in the literally this is like what is it? What was that guy called when they sent him to the ranch and it was in like the middle of nowhere? And was it Dr. Phil?
Yeah, Dr. Phil, yeah.
This is like where I imagine it would be. It's in the middle of nowhere. Even if you tried to escape, you wouldn't be able to go anywhere. And like the conditions are so harsh. There's no water. There's no shade. This has been planned for years at this point.
This looks like the area in Breaking Bad where they bury the bodies.
Bro,
actually, like, you know that desert they go out into?
Yeah, I know.
Ruby's journal entry about taking Eve to the desert became even more heartbreaking. Apparently, it was only after Eve collapsed on the road exhausted that Ruby took her home, but not for long. The very next day, Ruby, Russell, Eve, and Julie all returned to the desert. For the next 3 days, the children were made to weed and tidy a cemetery on a nearby Native American reservation. They were not allowed to wear shoes or gloves, despite the fact that there was broken glass and thorns everywhere. At one point, Russell became so desperate to escape the heat that he stuck his head in the toilet.
Oh my freaking god, dude. Oh man, this is sickening me. Like, oh my god. I can't eat anything more. This is crazy.
Ugh.
Yikes.
Footage of this suffering was captured by a local who explained in no uncertain terms to Ruby that she was not welcome there and that she would be filing a police report. This, Ruby wrote in her journal, was a sign that the devil does not want us to take Russell and Eve out of society.
Shut up
Apparently,
about the
relocating
devil,
to Arizona
man.
was their chosen method of avoiding further unwanted attention. One has to wonder how long the plan to get to Arizona was in process, though, based on an interaction Kevin mentioned happened before the separation.
Ruby started threatening me with another separation. And just like, this isn't about money, this is about doing God's work. So we continued in that dynamic for the next 6 or 7 months until she went on a trip with Jody and Pam down to Arizona. And I think they, like, when I read her journal, she went into Mexico or something and bought drugs or something, like prescription drugs for the emergency kits. And when she came back from that trip, before she even brought the bags into the house, she pulled me in and said, I want to talk with you. And that's when she asked me to leave.
And so Kevin left and got an apartment in Springsville. At some subsequent point, Ruby also left the family home for the house in Ivans to live with Jody, where the lives of her children would become a living nightmare. Back with Kevin, he said that when Ruby initiated contact again, he had no idea the sinister plan she had in store for their children.
Around that time, things with Ruby started, like, picking up, and I didn't understand why, but like Ruby wanted to meet in a parking lot and wanted me to sign over 2 of our cars, wanted me to sign them over to her name. I'm in total compliance mode at this point. Just like,
this bozo is so useless.
You can trust me.
Yeah, this guy knew what was going on though, for sure.
Yeah, he's literally just like, oh, well, I'm in compliance mode. Oh, you can just walk all over me. You can abuse the kids. Just love me again, please. Even right now, like, he's seen his kids, like, get it like bruised and shit, and he's like, oh, I still love my wife. What are you gonna do to my wife? Like,
shocking.
She wrote, this girl would choose to be shot and die than to humble. Even that wasn't the most disturbing part, though, because after locking Eve in the closet overnight, they decided to treat her injuries from the cactus. Ruby said, the spirit was very strong as Julie and I witnessed Jody cleaning what did not deserve to be clean. Kevin continued his story, discussing the moment he found that his family had disappeared to live in Ivans, leaving their own house empty.
Oh my God.
But when I returned to the house, everything was packed up, and a neighbor came over and said she asked for the HOA rules and mentioned to him that she wanted to rent the house out. Which I was like, are you kidding me? And she wanted to sell the house, but couldn't because my name was on the mortgage.
In another jail call, Ruby revealed that the Arizona scheme had gotten further along than anyone yet knew. One shudders to think what could have happened if Russell hadn't escaped before the move.
I pulled the money and I have it in a bag.
With you? Do the police have it?
Well, I don't know what the police took.
But the bag was at Jody's house?
They can't just take people's money. I mean, that's not right.
In a stunning twist, the person on the other end of the phone was none other than Kevin himself. In the days following Ruby's arrest, the pair made several phone calls where Kevin tried to ensure he received custody of the children and secured the money that Ruby had pulled out. Kevin's demeanor towards Ruby in these calls might be unexpected.
I am committed to our family. I'm committed to you and our marriage, no matter what happens. I will be here to support you.
Please arrest this guy. Please just lock him up in a well, never to be seen again.
That is like your wife is evil. She's just
Accept
evil.
it.
Like, yeah, just accept it. She is evil. Your kids. You haven't even. He hasn't even mentioned. Has he even mentioned the kids once? Has he even mentioned like ask?
Literally no.
This guy sucks.
C word, yeah.
In any way that I can.
Well, thank you for stepping up.
During this call, Kevin and Ruby agreed to limit their contact going forward to strengthen Kevin's chances of gaining legal custody of the children. A discovery made the next day, though, blew that out of the water.
The bag's gone.
What?
The bag is gone.
What? What?
There's no bag.
The only
Finally
thing more
showing some
shocking than the
emotion.
bag's disappearance was where Ruby had gotten the funds in the first place. Kevin and his lawyer revealed the source of the missing $85,000 while speaking with police.
That money, she cleaned out their bank accounts.
The kids' savings accounts.
Yeah, and yours too, your joint account.
Yeah.
That's where that money came from. So I don't know if you can have, or if I need to have a discussion with the county attorney. Kevin would kind of like his kids' money back.
Unfortunately, tracking down the money and attempting to return it to the children would likely become a separate civil case. While Ruby didn't comment on this directly while in jail, she had more thoughts to share the longer she was behind bars.
The devil is so sly, and I'm embarrassed it took such a huge slap in the face to wake up to it.
That bro, she keeps blaming everything on the devil, bro.
Yeah,
it's just you.
I'm so confused. Like, what is the actual goal here? Like, was she like doing this for YouTube content or for like religious personal reasons?
I think a bit of both. Like, she didn't upload all of this like journal entries and stuff like that. Clearly, I don't know, man. This is just insanity. This is complete insanity.
All with her parents, Ruby proofread a court statement she wrote to address her children and acknowledge her actions.
I would do anything in this world for you. My willingness to sacrifice all for you was masterfully manipulated into something very ugly. I took from you all that was safe and soft and good. I took from you your mother. How terrifying this must have been for you. I will never, ever stop crying for hurting your tender souls. You are such a very precious part of me. I'm so very sorry.
But no apology in the world could begin to undo the horrible trauma experienced by the Frankie children. In contrast to Ruby's attempt to make amends, Jody's response was the same as it was at the beginning of the investigation.
The Lord says that first they'll lay their hands on you and persecute you, delivering you up to the synagogues and into prisons. And the children shall rise up against their parents and shall cause them to be put to death. That statement right there is what's going on with me. The children shall rise up and put their parents to death, and ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake.
Okay, so it was some religious mumbo jumbo, and they're just afraid of like God, like punishing them for not punishing their children. Like, I don't know what.
Absolutely out of their mind. Like
freaks, complete freaks of nature.
Ultimately, Ruby and Jody were charged with 6 felony counts of child abuse and neglect each. Rather than go to trial, Ruby and Jody pleaded guilty to 4 counts of child abuse. Though their cases were adjudicated separately, they received the same sentences. On each count, Jody and Ruby were sentenced to serve between 1 and 15 years in prison.
1 is insane.
I thought they were going like just 1 or 1.5 years in prison. I was like, what?
I would lose my mind. Not even 15 is way too less. This is life imprisonment.
This needs to be life imprisonment.
This is like
the sentences
kids,
were to
man.
be consecutive, meaning both women could be behind bars for up to 60 years, which could be the rest of their lives.
That's good.
Kevin continues to lobby for custody of his children, who were taken by DCFS and placed in foster care.
Thank God.
Yeah, dude, there's no way in hell.
Don't give it to this baldy mother flipper.
This dad is not the person who needs to be with these kids. This guy failed as a father.
Yeah, I hope the police didn't ever think that this guy was innocent at all. But yeah.
The Frankie's oldest daughter, Sherry, is writing a book about her upbringing and has requested the public respect the privacy of her younger siblings.
Yeah, there's like a show that's come out about this, like a documentary, like I think the older sibling or something's made something about it. But yeah, let's check out the comments real quick. The husband learns about what the kids were going through, doesn't ask how they are or where he can see them, but asks what's going to happen to his wife because he loves her.
We were literally saying that. He didn't ask once about what his kids. He's just like, but I love my wife. It's like your wife is evil.
It's crazy the neighbor was crying over the kid and the parents didn't shed a tear. Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah.
The dad was completely nonchalant. I don't think the dad should ever receive custody. Yep, filled him absolutely. Ordering pizza and giving her time to eat was peak police work. That was so nice. That was
shout
a
out
great
to the
officer.
police who did that.
Little boy is so dang brave, saved his sisters. Yep. It was, yeah, that's it for the video. sorry for the real dark topic today, guys. Hopefully next time we'll have something lighthearted and like TikTok cringe or whatever. But let us know if you like these duo videos. We'll probably be doing maybe a couple more in the next few weeks. And click this video for more content, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.